Good evening. My name is Jeremy Riss, the alien scientist, and you're watching Catastrophic Disclosure Live. So, tonight's broadcast, wow, and this is picking up some serious speed, guys. We're getting a lot of attention for this this broadcast. People are really paying attention because, yeah, we don't lie and we don't mess around here. Everything that I talk about, you can go and look up for yourself and fact check and verify. And if I don't know, I'm not sure of anything, I will say so. And I'll let you know. So lots of cool stuff on the agenda. Let's go right into it. This was the patent that Professor Simon's buddy there, Josh Bertlet. I forget his last name always. But Josh there, he's been on the broadcast the last 2 nights, and he brought this paper to our attention, which looks like a magnesium bismuth aerogel. He claims from his sources is the coating, the skin coating on this drone, which, this piece of material has been floated around as UFO debris, since, and it's still being, put around as UFO debris. People saw that. So here's, we played this the other night from 5 years ago, claiming that this UFO Meta Material was unknown origin, Hal put off saying that, it thinks it's alien. It's got these weird, layers in it, which it corresponded apparently to terahertz. I talked about this on the show before, but this was on Twitter recently, and I'm glad that this story is finally picking up speed again. And where was that? That I'm going to play the video right here. Here it is. All right. I want people to watch this real quick, and let me just share it so I can share it with the audio tab. There we go. All right, listen to this here real quick.
A sample of material which is known as the Bismuth Magnesium material. Have you been able to reach any conclusions about that?
It is a layered material of bismuth, a little bit of lead, and magnesium. I've looked at the ratios of the isotopes there, and there's nothing unusual about it. But I will be getting a hold of a much, much larger sample of it that will allow me to do some other kinds of tests.
Now, one of the things that's been speculated about this particular piece of bismuth magnesium is that if you put a waveform through it, I know this sounds daffy, it will levitate.
I have heard of this result. I've not seen it with my own eyes.
Have you tried?
No, because the waveform that they needed to put through it is terahertz waves.
And that was why Tom DeLonge's To the Stars Academy did the CRADA, the research agreement with the US Army, because they're the only people that have got the terahertz transmitter that you'd need.
Right.
Do we know whether that research has been done now?
I'm not allowed to talk about that.
Aha, this is getting interesting.
Yeah.
But the thing that fascinates me,
I'm not allowed to talk about that.
Some of the material that To the Stars Academy was saying that it was going to be researching was material that was provided to it by the US government.
Yes.
And if all this stuff about UAPs is rubbish, why was the US government keeping samples of flying saucers and flying discs?
That's a good question. Well, this is the pieces that were sent to like Bigelow Aerospace and studied under them. Apparently it came from like Arts Parts. Someone mailed it to him, said it came from Roswell or something, and then it went to Linda Moulton Howe. I don't know. I want more information on the actual. I need like definite chain of custody of this piece so we know exactly when and where it was originally found. Because that would rule out these 2020 patents our guest was showing around of the bismuth magnesium nanolayer material that Chinese scientists were working on in 2020. So that,
Indeed. I mean, it's a damn good point. There hasn't been, as far as I've seen, a thorough chain of custody disclosure about this particular material, which has become so famous in that time. And despite what allegedly were several different analysis samples from various labs, we still don't have a chain of custody.
well, I know that, Metabunk put out this thing saying that it looked kind of like a piece from an industrial slag. It's similar to these.
I've worked with those industries. It's absolutely not industrial slag. You don't get clear partial layer separation. And
I didn't think that was a convincing debunk either, but some people saw this was thoroughly debunked on Metabunk by Mick West, years ago. Like, I can't believe you're still talking about this. I'm like, yeah, I saw that too, but I've kept an open mind.
Yeah, it was a nice try that left so much to be desired. It was basically worthless data.
Yeah, the thing is, right, this would have to be compressed in order for, if it was that, the thing is, those aerogels, they're so fragile,
Exactly. Go ahead and produce a piece of slag like this. I'll pay you. Make it.
Yeah, we actually tried. I don't know, Aiden, if you're watching, why don't you bring over the piece? He's in the lab right now. We have a piece of metal that we tried to press. We took sheets of the varying of thickness and ratios, and we tried to press them until they'd reach that kind of scale to see if we could reproduce it.
Yep, I don't care what technique you use. Go ahead and use explosion welding. Go ahead and use extremely high pressure. You can go ahead and stick it in a freaking multi-ton hydraulic press. I don't care if you got 100,000 psi. You're not going to make that.
Well, you think it's this sprayed, sol gel that turns into aerogel, like deposited in layers? Could it be that?
The hell starts to make a lot of sense when we think about just depositing one individual element and then having that perhaps be electrically charged so that we get crystalline orientation along a certain lattice without having to deal with the fill factor of a high density material. This could be a very much inflated structural material, and all it would have to do is follow a crystalline lattice pattern that was superimposed.
Well, yeah, arc furnace, but
that
how
would
do you
work.
deposit it in the, because I've seen some of these advanced, aero, the air material, they're 3D printed metals that are like very that have a lot of hollow space inside them. Have you seen those?
Just the whole idea that basically you can get aerogels that are formed not simply with the one option that we're already familiar with, which is you have a cavitational structure where you've got lots of spaces filled with air, but actually there's another way to form it where you get a cavitational structure that's filled with vacuum instead of air. Hence the extraordinary lightweight. And you can use that through liquid migration.
Exactly. So they're extremely lightweight, so that you when you apply Newton's second law, F equals ma, that acceleration becomes huge with a tiny bit of force because the mass is this really small number. Yeah, Josh Bertrand, there he is, man. Thank you. Yeah. Well, we're gonna get somebody else to make it, and I want some samples of this. If you could send them to our lab for experiment, I would love to get a reproduction type of this material. And also, by the way, the issue of another issue that was wrong information that Gary and both Gary and Ross put forward. They said that the Army, the TTSA gave this to the Army because the Army was the only ones with the terahertz capabilities. And that's just not true, is it? As we know, there's a terahertz and ultrafast photonic research group at Wright State University, right close to the Air Force, at Wright Patterson Air Force Base.
Indeed,
right
and these
next
are
door.
fairly small form factor cyclotrons. That
In fact,
right.
In fact, one of this faculty, one of the key terms, search terms that I look for almost every day, just to see if any new news pops up because of the secrecy surrounding certain locations. One of those locations is Wright Patterson Air Force Base. And so one morning when I was Googling that on my daily rounds of, seeing the news, I found this individual who had been arrested and charged with mishandling classified documents that and what classified documents did he have access to? He had a PhD in terahertz and polariton condensate research.
Damn.
And you can look up his PhD and read it. Yeah, his thesis, it's right on the website here. But he served a year in jail, actually a year in federal prison, not jail, federal prison for mishandling classified information. So what classified information was he mishandling if his job was to work at this terahertz and ultraphotonics group at Wright State?
Wouldn't it be great if we had an audience filled with members that had, researched terahertz operators in these various systems, and we're just sitting here commenting in the audience, people like Brian Kelly, Gerald, and Michael Perrone, who is interested actually in developing some of this stuff too, and could possibly make the materials, only he's been thoroughly ignored. So you guys should join, that link, that StreamYard link is right up there. Go ahead and click on it. Please, you guys get in here.
Isaac Kemp, if you, UFO Snowden, if you're out there, there's the StreamYard link, and you can go hop right on and just tell us what's going on, man. This would be awesome. Yeah, so this guy arrested for information. You can go look that up on where is the Department of Justice website for this. Yeah, Edward Snowden. Let's talk about Edward Snowden. Right before Edward Snowden, there was 3 whistleblowers who came forward out of the deep state and tried to expose a lot of what was going on. I don't know if you know about these guys. That not a lot of people do. Bill Binney. You ever heard that name before? How about the name?
No, that's not actually a name I've heard personally. Catastrophic Disclosure wise, we certainly got the audience for it.
Yeah, so these guys were brought Catastrophic Disclosure, and again, it was swept under the rug and covered up, never taken over, and no mainstream media would pick up on the real truth. It's a shame when our mainstream media looks at this type of information like, oh, this was conspiracy theories, and we need to report on real news, and this is the real news, and they won't report on it. I think the dung beetle program,
I mean, how are you supposed to vet this? How are you supposed to trace this back and prove it and, alleviate the risk?
Depicted in Egypt with wings. Okay, well, there's all beetles. I don't know if you know, but beetles are have metamaterials in their wings. So let's look up metallic beetles. You can see that the beetle's skin is made out of a material called chitin, which is it's very similar to cellulose. So,
right. Think about the entirety of Ron Kita's career. For example, he calls his company Chiralex, which is to say
Chiralex.
Right, Chiralex, properly pronounced, exactly. It's all about the study of twisted metamaterials that modify mu in our variable refractive index. As the magnetic field passes through it, being highly uniform with connected field lines in a straight direction, they end up getting twisting by these tiny little chiral chains. Protein chains that can actually modify a magnetic field being naturally grown biologically in these beetles' wings.
Yeah, it's crazy. You see the SEM images of these materials, and some just look like sheets with holes punched in them. And they don't look like anything on that microscopic level when you zoom in, but when you zoom out, bored to those geometries.
Yo, buddy, we got Joshua.
When you zoom in, but when you zoom out,
he's doing the hero dance here because he's hearing what we're saying.
UFO Snowden has arrived.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Come on,
We're gonna
Oh,
start
yeah,
calling you UFO Snowden because I can't remember your last name every time I try to say it now. Josh Bertrand. This is great. So, yeah. So these beetle wings have, if you look at them on the SEM and under the microscope, they have very plain-looking geometries and stuff on the micro scale. But those geometries play hell with light, and you can get all kinds of colors. You can get metal looking, this is regular insect material, like the same stuff that, plants or paper or other stuff is made of, very similar in chemistry. And yet they're able to create metal like looking, gold, silver, and silver beetles. People have found these. There's pictures all over the internet. You can see that they're 100% real. And
Yeah, the most amazing part is that these extremely metallic-looking, highly refractive nanostructures are not made of actual metalloids or even oxides, but that these are direct biologically generated nanostructures which photonically reflect those wavelengths of light. And this is a fantastic property originally identified in the morpho butterfly, but extended well beyond to the effect that we're seeing here.
yeah, there's even glass butterfly, which are able to figure out how to make the material clear, completely clear, transparent. So there you go with your invisibility cloaks and metamaterials. It's nature already did it for you a couple million years. They beat you to the punch by a few
That is
million
incredible. I've never seen that before. Thank you for sharing that.
years. Yeah. Look at that. Nature always did it first.
Hi, Jeremiah. Hi, Jeremy. How are you today?
Hey, welcome to the show, Edward Snowden and Gerald.
I believe that I am UFO Snowden officially now. DOE has come clean to some other part of the government. They are planning to slowly disclose this through a new office that was created yesterday. So,
Well, if you want the face in the volunteer position, we'll give it to you gladly.
So I
Go
hope
ahead.
you followed those guidelines on network security that we talked about after the mishap on the last stream, and hopefully you don't get any random DDoS ping attacks tonight.
I'm sure it'll start as soon as I mention a certain country.
Yeah, right. That seems to be exactly what happened last night, and we took note. A lot of people took note of that.
I've taken note of it in several of these interviews now, too.
Well, then, we will just refer to all those entities as just Big Brother in general, seeing as they all seem to work together in some way behind the scenes to keep the public misinformed and in the dark. So, Big Brother,
Seem
and
that way now, yep.
Yes, you'll have to watch the stream from last night. So Josh is here, and let's switch gears back to this this material that he came forward with. He claims that this is. When do you think they started working on this technology? And like, it would be nice if we could find papers on this that go back,
2011.
Even further. 2011, you say?
Yeah. For the Chinese, all of their aerogel research is 2011 forward. In 2011, they stole technologies via spying from the DOE.
Hey Josh, do you have the PDF of the paper for this? We were only able to read the what do you call it? The supporting documents.
I only had that online library.wiley.com link. There is a PDF that I think Jeremy brought up from it earlier, which describes the manufacturing methods.
That was the
Yeah,
supporting
that's the supporting info.
That's the supporting info.
That's not the document.
Yeah, it's not the actual link.
I don't have the actual link. I'll try and find it before.
Well, based on the supporting info, it doesn't look like it's the magnesium bismuth material at all.
Right. It has
agree
this,
to disagree. This is an evolution of that material. This is that
no reason to
material
make it
with
that way.
reinforcement
It wouldn't be stable as a battery.
so this paper is an evolution of the
material that crashed a couple years earlier. Yes.
Yeah.
There's no reason to make it like that. The three micron any metal is very delicate. 3-micron bismuth that's not a very structural metal to begin with. It wouldn't
Yes.
hold its shape or anything. And then the magnesium,
That is
like,
why
when
they've
you
added
burn the
carbon
battery,
nanotubes to rigidify the material itself. That's why this evolution has come forward and been presented in the paper.
But
because the carbon
any
nanotubes
battery would
rigidify
start
it.
with carbon fiber usually as the collector.
I don't know
plates.
why they chose to start with just flat vacuum deposited layers. This is where it is in 2020.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe,
If,
but
if I'm wrong,
it's
I'd like to see the other paper describing the other material.
Well,
Hey.
what I'm really interested in actually, Michael Bruin is one who's uniquely qualified, the one you're talking to now. He can make several of these types of materials. He understands the morphology, the depositing matrix. He understands the process to generate these materials. He's actually sort of a savant genius in the material sciences
I look
category.
forward to helping him. Michael, please reach out to me via email. Jeremy has it. And
It may
Jeremy
be a
can
distraction from
give
our
Michael
current
my
work,
email.
but I can help you
Michael,
guys.
let's talk offline and start some of these experiments.
I don't think so.
You don't
No,
have my
I think
email?
no, I think our other
I'll
work
send
is
that
more
to you right
important
now.
at the moment. But yeah, I mean, I can at least give you directions on how to do this. You take a converging, diverging de Laval nozzle with about a couple hundred psi behind it. You typically nitrogen gas, and that'll give you a supersonic flow stream. And then you inject powder into the flow stream, and I can give you a few hints on that, but that may have been trade secret at the time I was working on that. So, but yeah, basically you do cold spray. There's a lot of documents online now about cold spray technology. So you take metal powder and you shoot it at supersonic speeds at a substrate, and it mechanically and chemically bonds onto it. That's not cold. Okay, there we go. There's some images down there with the metal. Yeah, that's one. Yeah. So,
Yeah, this is where they heat it up and they shoot it out of a supersonic nozzle and it deposits onto a surface, right? And you know what's interesting, right? Is you had some. I don't see any pieces of the cold spray material here, but I saw some at the cold spray lab that you brought me to at WPI, Michael, and they looked very, very similar to the Bob White artifact.
yeah,
I'm saying this is what it was.
yeah. I mean, that's probably an old cold spray experiment, to be honest.
It looks a lot like it. It's very similar the way So,
but those were experiments to get a very tall mound. In this case, you would just want to put individual layers in there. So you take the magnesium, and then for the bismuth, you'd have to use almost a nano powder of bismuth in order to get the 3-micron layer size that you're looking for. And that would explain the black coloration, because bismuth nanopowder is black. And you definitely don't want to heat that above like 150 Celsius, or actually bismuth, despite being relatively unreactive, at that finely divided scale, it's pyrophoric a little bit. So if you go above 150, it just oxidizes.
Interesting to know. One thing that we did find while we were doing our research was a lot of the technology evolutions that they've been doing alongside this materials science deals with the flow rate near the nozzle of this vacuum deposition process. If they don't have optimal flow where the nanoparticles are coming out and into the vacuum deposition chamber, they get odd makeups of the micron
we solved that. We solved that problem. We solved that problem when I was working.
Yeah, several of the innovations that were involved in this were solving that problem, and you can actually trace those research advances back to the same grant paper that was funding the materials science for the MGBI.
Maybe, I don't know. Well, we solved it.
Oh no, you definitely can. We have the grant number.
Oh, cool. Yeah, send it over. I'll take a look.
And it's shared between several of these patents. It's actually how we tracked down most of the CCP's research chain. Oh, I'm going to get ping bombed now. Was they were all tied to the same grant number that started in 2011. So we just
Interesting.
used that grant number when we found it and traced back to all of the work that had been done relating to that grant.
Interesting. Well, I don't know if that grant involved cold spray, but
It involved vacuum deposition
happened in
processes.
2018 or later. Well, I mean, earlier in Russia. China would have already known about it from Russia, actually, because cold spray started in Russia.
China knew about it in 2011 because they stole all of the research from DOE.
I think the DOE probably stole it from Russia originally, so whatever. It's all
I
fair.
leave that open to
fair
being a
game these days.
possibility.
But anyway,
yeah, we'll talk
so-
offline, and I'll give you some of the tips that I can, and try to help you produce this.
Just the number for the grant thing. That would be interesting.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, you can do it with cold spray, and then the other way to do it is you can go to Modumetal and have it made electrochemically. Modumetal has special processes that can do that. Jeremy, pull that one up again. Modumetal.
Oh, that company, Modumetal.
Yeah, they do layered stuff like this as a means of anti-corrosion. In fact, one of the things I thought maybe this sample was when I first saw it is it looks like it's an anti-corrosion coating. I mean, it's an anti-corrosion composite from one of Modumetal's tests, perhaps. Because they were working with iron, they were working with aluminum, they probably were working with magnesium too. But yeah, you see right here, you've got these layers that corrode, but the layers on top there are protective. So if you have that for magnesium, you have these bismuth layers. The bismuth would be a lot less. It would be a lot more corrosion resistant than the magnesium. So it would resist corrosion in this exact way.
Yeah, and again, we believe that the US versions actually have an outer coating on them of black silicon paint. So that also acts as a corrosion barrier for the craft.
Well, I'd also
Similar
about
to
that.
how if you have a battleship, you paint it.
Yeah,
So
I also don't see how that charges the battery photovoltaically.
You leave a patch of the skin open to the magnesium layer, and that's how the charge gets into the inner layers.
I mean, the magnesium ions have to flow to a surface somewhere. I don't know. You would also need a lead for you would need something to get the high voltage and the low voltage side of the photovoltaic cell. I don't know. You
Correct.
could
I'm
coat
going
it
to
with
send
that.
Jeremy that patent now.
All right. But yeah, I mean, you could make this stuff at Modumetal probably, in all likelihood. They have like iron and zinc.
Yeah, I think you should reach out to them with more specifics on the material, because I sent them an email, but then they never got back to me. They didn't seem like they were interested.
Nah, probably not.
Jeremy, I just sent you a link that might have been used at one time as the rechargeable cathode system. It's in your Twitter DMs if you want to bring that up for Michael. He definitely knows the intricacies of the nanomaterial science better than I do. As I said, I'm a mathematician by training. So perhaps he can explain whether that
This is what's
rechargeable
so
cathode
cool, man.
system is what's used.
This is what's so cool is that like we can all link up together here and we can do this on live. And so the whole audience, like right down in the comment section, if you happen to be in the comment section in the live, you're in the best place ever because you're going to be reading all kinds of extra little pieces and tidbits of information from all the other researchers out there, which are now trying to basically just give this as fast as they can. and contribute theirs. So always, we always pay attention to this. We reread it after the fact. It's nice to go back over it in the live.
Yo, this is the other thing you sent me. I want to bring this up real quick. DOE launches new office to coordinate critical and emerging technology. This was December.
We did it. We did it. It was yesterday.
Cool.
Wow.
They've decided to come clean to Congress, the Senate, and Biden. So we did it.
Oh, well, maybe we'll
I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, yay.
I mean, I'm sure there's
UFO
they'll leave
Snowden.
some tech not like out there, like some stuff. They'll say, "Oh, this one's national security. We can't talk about that one still." But
Correct. We're getting as much. I just wanted Congress to have oversight. I know that there are national secrets. I know that they can't disclose everything to us. But when they were hiding it from Congress, it was a crime. I don't think they're able to hide it anymore because we've brought this into the scientific discussion.
Yay,
And
one tiny
so,
piece of our government
as
is
we
working
see
properly
yesterday,
now.
It'd
They
be
are
really
going
cool,
to have to be
Joshua,
more
if
obvious-
like
more
we actually
honest.
could trace back through what you've done, what you've disclosed on various YouTube channels now, and this whole thing happening. If we could actually trace it back and find that, hey, it turns out that on these dates and at these times, we actually did have something to do with all this, and maybe we just helped get a little bit of truth out there.
Well, the first disclosure of our information to the public was on November 15th, the day that Speaker Johnson canceled the November 16th ICIG SCIF session with Congress. We realized it was a crime to be hiding that information from congressional oversight, so we put our information out that night. And it's been almost a month now, and as you saw yesterday, they've decided to become more transparent with the technologies that they have that are non-nuclear.
Yeah, this will be
That's
one
good.
for all the anthropology and history nerds out there to try and put this whole entire process together.
Glad it
Figure
worked out.
Yeah, this live stream may be in a history book someday.
Well, if we get Edward Snowden on there, maybe. Yeah, if you're the Edward Snowden, the UFO Snowden of, geez, I don't know.
Our YouTube live stream.
I
is
don't
not the
know
place to
anyone
go.
else that was pinning this
be
on DOE.
I
Everyone
want to get a
was
piece of
saying
this material
DOE.
and test it out, man. Boondog Tom, you're on Disclosure, Catastrophic Disclosure Live. Welcome.
Jeremy, Mark might still have that device I built to make this material. He might still have it in it. He said the work it was shoddy workmanship, but I mean his tap and die sets were kind of not good either. So whatever.
Are you
Anyway.
talking about his crystal deposition chamber that he
No, this is
sent?
complete.
Okay.
I made a device to make this bismuth magnesium material at Mark's lab like a year or two ago. And Mark said, "Oh, workmanship's shoddy, and I'm not going to use it." And then it just sat there, or I don't know what happened to it.
Huh.
Well, we should
I wish I had
definitely
known about
resurrect
that.
it and try to
You want a
improve the
sample,
workmanship.
Jeremiah? We can send you one. I mean, I'm going down to Mark's lab, assuming it's still there. I can make some samples.
It'll be there. The one thing that so far I've seen is he hangs on to stuff. It'll be stowed away somewhere. There was one point in the past, it's kind of a point of contention for everybody, where the lab was cleaned by far too many hands and things were lost. But it happened only once, and so far he's done a pretty good job at holding on to the various things that have been sent in. I mean, he's got Gary samples and those weird coils that never really produced the warp field effect that we're being hoped for. So he's hung on to a lot of these many things. Chances are he probably has it somewhere in there, maybe even in the same room with the vacuum chamber.
Yeah, hopefully it's still around. Maybe I can go over there and bring a better tap and die and get the job done. Get that material tapped.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I'm curious though. You did talk about the mechanism that you produced. What's inside of it and what makes it unique? What is this thing?
It's very simple. It's very simple. You have a block of some hard steel, and you have an aluminum block on top of that, and you drill a hole in the aluminum up to the surface of the steel block, and then you just pinch a piece of paper or aluminum foil there, and you pour in your powders, or you put in your metal plates, and then you whack it with a hammer on top. And I mean, you can also drop a metal weight from a controlled height so that you know exactly how much kinetic energy you're putting into the sample. But yeah, I mean, you're basically simulating explosion welding, super on the cheap, because you can't just press this stuff together. You have to whack it together fast enough that the oxide layers of the metals shatter off and then don't have time to reform in the oxygen atmosphere of the Earth before they're solidified together. And then you get the metallurgical bonding between the particles.
That seems like a pretty plausible idea.
It works. We did it at the lab, and
Oh,
yeah. I don't know. I thought Mark would show off those samples. I don't know if he even did.
I've not seen them so far. Either I missed it or he never showed them off. But
I'll make sure to document it when I go down there. Then, worth documenting.
I mean, he did show off some of his bismuth plated ceramics, and actually, we've got to admit that after a couple of tries, well, and a couple of failures, he actually developed a process to finely plate ceramic thin films of aluminum oxide in bismuth, which is pretty damn impressive.
Cool. Yeah, and also to get the layer thickness right, for this particular experiment, you can use magnesium strip, like the type for lighting fires and stuff, because that's 200 microns in diameter. And then when you whack it with the hammer, it gets a little bit thinner. And then also to get the bismuth layer just the right thickness, you can just dip the magnesium in a mixture of glycerol and bismuth chloride, and that'll react to produce bismuth metal on the surface of the magnesium. It'll make some very finely divided flakes.
This sounds like a cold process. Is that what you're describing?
Yeah, it's just a galvanic corrosion.
Wow.
Where the bismuth is replacing actually not galvanic corrosion. It's the bismuth. It's a replacement reaction. The bismuth's replacing the magnesium.
That's genius.
It's simple, and then you get a nice even coating. And you can modulate. You can add molasses and other things to modulate. You can modulate the microstructure of the bismuth that comes off, because sometimes it's a bit feathery and it's easy to brush it off. But if you want a nice even coating that's rather durable, then you just use anti-corrosion coatings. It takes longer, but then the bismuth layer is more even.
Dude, that's extremely clever and quite genius.
This is standard electrochemistry stuff. Yeah, Aiden tried to make some, but you can see the I don't know what happened, but it looks like some metal came out of the sides of it more recently. I don't remember that being there. That may be some metallurgical process.
I think Aiden said he heated it up and this bubbled out.
Yeah, that's the zinc.
That might be the bismuth that bubbled out when it was heated.
No, it's zinc and magnesium. The bismuth melts before the zinc, and then so in order of melting, it's bismuth, zinc, then magnesium. So we can play around and start the substrate with zinc and magnesium. And the zinc ends up being like the electric donor, or it's the electron body in the finished product, and the magnesium would be the like the waveguide. And I believe it's bismuth that's the darker bands in the thing, and that would be the like ground, or what the material is reacting off of.
The bismuth is the lighter stuff in the SEM photo. Heavier elements reflect electrons better.
Okay, well, we need to go through that book, What They All Told the Truth by that Richard Crandall guy. That's one of the better places to find the information. He scraped it off of the web in the 90s. And then Linda Moulton Howell's, if you get access to her website, it's in there as well. But I'm pretty sure it's bismuth. Just this is the darker one. That's just straight
Crandall?
zinc. Crandall, yeah, Crandal.
Well, I'll make a few samples for people if they're interested, but I think this is somewhat of a distraction from our other work, so I'll just get right back to it after that. It's actually no, I'll just make some samples when I go down to Mark's. I don't even have to make another device.
I'm very interested.
Yeah, we could send you one. In fact, it would be easy.
Yeah, Michael, I'm very interested, and I'll cover your material costs.
It was broken into several.
Sure.
Jeremy, I just sent you the grant number for the CCP patents that Michael asked for a couple of minutes ago. It's in your Twitter DMs with the other patent that describes the cathode charging system.
Anyway, I better head out. Lots of work to do on my end, so I'll get back to it.
That was this one right here. I got to get the PDFs for these. I will definitely send these to Michael and print them out, and we can, so he can read all these. Anything that goes, I would like to see something that goes back even earlier, like a decade or two before this. That would be.
The CCP only goes as far back as 2011.
Yeah, huh?
That's when their research into this technology
So
started.
do you think that they reverse engineered this from ET, von Neumann probes or something? Or is this
No, the CCP stole the DOE's research.
The DOE's research, huh?
Yeah. You can see that the DOE's security personnel in charge of data security have been there's been a cascading set of 3 firings between 2011 and the present day. So clearly they're not able to keep this data secure, even though they are the ones in the government that were pretending that it was secure and all locked down and didn't even exist. It was being stolen by China the whole time.
Well, that's not completely surprising, but
it didn't surprise me, but yeah, it's what happened.
Well, if they're going to come.
It makes you wonder what else do they have locked down.
That's right. Yeah. Well, they got a lot of stuff locked down, as we've talked about on this channel. They had metamaterials on the Nazi submarines in World War II. That technology came over with the scientists on Operation Paperclip. So, 1,600 Nazi scientists came over from working on, all kinds of crazy technology, including, reports of anti-gravity technology with the Project Kronos there, the Glock, and Werner von Braun, all the space programs that they started. I mean, they had a secret space program in here in America from 1945 until 1958, when the public space program, NASA, was created. But that was only the public-facing version of the space program. And for every rocket that NASA launched, I think the NSA and NRO must have launched like 10. So this whole secret space program existed in the background for spying networks and all kinds of other infrastructure that they set up for decades, alongside the real space program, and for 14 years from 1945 to 1958 before the space program. So
agreed, and thanks to the research of Sean Rash, we also know that in 52 they took the best parts that they didn't want to go into the public space program and moved it into a company called Spheres Inc. Super creative name, Atomic Energy Commission.
Spheres Inc.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to Sean's research around it.
Ooh, this sounds interesting. Never heard of
Imagine
them.
what they have now hidden from
They
our
were
friend
operating
Isaac
under-
Kemp.
Yeah, they were operating under the Atomic Energy Commission as a private company, and a bunch of current Lockheed engineers were part of that effort. And yeah, thank you to Sean for doing the research and verification that led to his discovery of Spheres Inc.
Is this the same? Can't be the same company.
No, that's not. If you go to the go to my Twitter DM to you, and it's the most recent link.
Oh wow. Oh, okay. This is much older than. Oh wow, huh? Look at that. Would you look at that?
And these are documents that the government has released by FOIA in the past. And because of the research that we've been doing, Sean was able to tie some of the names of engineers that are currently at Lockheed back to this Spheres Inc. company that was being run under the AEC. And the AEC eventually became the Department of Energy. And that's where we see this continuing effort today. And as of yesterday, they're claiming to be more open about it, thankfully.
Yeah. Wow. This is. I hope that this all comes out. Yeah. This is.
Oh, it's
I didn't
already
even
out.
know about this. This is good research. This is from 1952. So this is right in line with when they, von Braun and all the others were setting a lot of this stuff up, that
Yes,
would eventually
correct.
become the space program. Yeah, this was great. I have to read these documents and these. So Colonel Dale Reese. Colonel Dale Reese. Let's look that name up, huh?
I might have to leave shortly. If I do, my research partner, Prof. Q, is waiting in the Streamlabs.
Oh,
waiting room.
hello! It is the guy.
Oh,
Okay, that
yes.
is,
So
dude.
you can
I got.
replace me with him, and he has a bunch of information on Gilgamesh, the body that was preserved in aerogel, and he can present that to
man.
you guys tonight.
Dude,
I'm
this is
sorry that I have
terrible.
to leave.
This is terrible. Not because you have to leave alone, but because I also have to jump. I've got a call to host on behalf of a friend of mine, and all of its 35 to 40 participants or so. So I've got to also jump here. And I read that thing. I was like, I've been thinking about that, dude. The stuff that was put in that email. All I'm gonna say is, I wish I was gonna be here for the rest of it. After
I'm going to
Mr.
watch
Q
the
jumps
replay
on,
after.
but
I can't wait to see how he presents it.
Yeah, I sense
and
it's.
I'm gonna miss G's thing too, because take a look right now on web live right now. Gerald is showing a Magn Experiment, so just take a look at that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, I've got basically 2 or 3 minutes left before I have to swap over. So can we full screen him just in the meantime, so I can at least see what Big G is up to?
Gerald. Oh wow, what is going on here?
That twist is pretty interesting.
Yes,
I can see the angle
That's
now.
being
Yeah, that
pulsed
makes
at 7.83 hertz.
That angle makes a lot more sense, though. You got to get that thing perfectly pre-aligned with the face.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, you got to turn
really
it.
kind of a shabby setup right now. I just kind of wanted to show it move, but I got to make everything completely still. You see me turn it there, because what I'm going to do, if I can make it stop from moving,
Well, that's weird.
That's the opposite pole of what you're going to see in the middle here. And it's going to spin it and then continue. And that's my demonstration of a small torsion field.
You know, the interesting thing about that twist is if it was pre-aligned with the face that it likes to pull towards, if it was perfectly level with it, do you still get that twist?
Yeah, the coil's twisting now. Here, I'll shut it off. So I'll make it still.
Yeah, to have it start still at the same position that it comes to rest in is really what I want to see. I want to see how the magnet responds to that. If you can get it to be still at that same position, at the same angle.
Guys, on the screen right now is Professor Simon's video. He did an interview and put a well put together video with Josh here. So if you guys want, you can go and share that around, post it on your social media. That'll help. That'll help get more people talking about this. I'm trying to get Gary Nolan and Ross Coulthart there to respond to this and tell us what they think is going on with that this piece of material and these allegations. You know, we have a lot of people looking into it, and you know, I'd like to see what Gary Nolan has to say himself, because he's actually had firsthand experience with this material and knows it well. So he'd be able to tell you right away that, like, oh, it's definitely not an aerogel, or if it could be, you know, give us some kind of indication. And I would like if we can get access to whoever's making this stuff, originally made it, or anyone who's got debris of one of these things from another, you know, source. I'll give, you know, you can DM me, ask me for information. I'll give you an address where you can mail stuff to.
This sucks, man, but I've got a dash now, so you guys take it easy. I'm sorry, G. I wanted to take a look farther into your experiments, but I don't have time today.
That's good. I'll be doing a video on it, but I appreciate it.
Don't be afraid to share them with everybody else, though, because I will rewatch this later. I want to check out what I missed. So thank you guys for having me, and we will catch you again. What a fantastic panel! Some of the greatest minds that are going to get together.
Always great to talk to you.
See you later, Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Later, Jeremiah. Thanks for joining us, man. It's a shame that Jeremiah and Michael Perrone had to go, but let's keep going, shall we? We got Q here, and he's about to jump in once he can connect a microphone or another device. I guess I don't know if he's willing to. I just don't have any camera, just mic connected to headphones. Yeah, so the Gilgamesh tomb. Let's bring up this Gilgamesh tomb and the photo of that. Where was that? You would
scroll up in the DMs a little bit. There's 3 different Gilgamesh videos that I sent you.
Yeah. Okay. So I got this one here. Do you see that?
That is a 4,500-year-old body that looks like it died yesterday.
4,500 years old.
I have that video as well.
So this thing was covered in aerogel to preserve it.
Yeah, it was called a resin, but from our understanding, it is aerogel.
Wasn't there a scroll with him explaining his stasis as well? Can you hear me?
I don't know. I don't know anything about this. This is like I saw you send this to me, but I haven't looked at it until now.
The person that was talking that isn't Jeremy, you were breaking
it's
up
Gerald.
to me. I don't know if that's Streamlabs being weird. Yeah, I don't hear anything. So if other people are hearing it, could you maybe relay the question to me?
So this is this guy. I can't hear him anymore. He cut out.
Yeah.
This is the guy that they found. This is the tomb of they say this is Gilgamesh.
Yes, the fourth king of the city of Uruk that was part of the Assyrian Empire.
And how did he die?
I don't
Holy
know that that is recorded anywhere definitively.
jeez. But he looks like he doesn't look like he's 4,500 years old. But they
Correct.
say they
And
preserved.
this was pulled out of a sealed tomb. So German archaeologists cracked his tomb, which was under the Euphrates River partially, 5 months before the Second Iraq War.
Can you hear me now?
the
Yes,
Second Iraq War.
Yes.
He's the same Gilgamesh that was mentioned in the Bible, is he not?
yes.
Yeah, my previous question was I don't know if I'd read somewhere or if it was part of the video that I had watched. Was there not a scroll that was found with him explaining his stasis? I don't know if you know anything about that. It's just a question.
I do not know anything about that, and if you can find me that information, I am incredibly interested.
I'll look in my data bank for that video, and as soon as I get it, I'll send it on to Jeremy, and he can pass it on to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no way. People saying there's no way this is real.
Here,
Yeah,
I'm going to repaste the video where American forces literally show a newspaper when they are taking possession of the body during the Second Gulf War. It is at least 5 months after the German archaeologists discovered this body, and it is the same body. It has not decayed at all, even in those 5 months.
I have to wonder if it's a well-known thing in the news in the Middle East that surrounds the Euphrates.
It's pretty well known in Iraq because when the Iraq War broke out, the Second Iraq War, about 2 days after it started, there was a concerted effort to loot all of the museums and antiquity sites of Iraq. People went in with advanced knowledge of where the most valuable items in these museums were, and they carried out strikes into these museums, as well as the central bank of Iraq, and looted, specifically targeting cylinders. They were looking for anything that was cylindrical in shape and anything that was valuable. And we believe that that was likely one of the objectives of why the Iraq War happened, because there were no WMDs found, which was the public justification for the war. Yet 2 days after the war, the Iraqi antiquities were being concertedly looted for specific items, cylinders.
There's also pictures of a well-known ziggurat in Iraq being, I don't know, excavated might not be quite the word, looked at by military because they were looking for something as well.
Yes,
and that
at
was shortly
Nimrud.
after Gilgamesh
At
was
Nimrud.
found. I believe. Yeah, yep.
Yes, yes.
well,
So one of the other videos that Prof Q will be able to explain tonight delves deeply into this concerted effort to loot the artifacts. It was done by, I believe, National Geographic, and Q will be able to explain it to you. I
interesting.
unfortunately have to go now. Jeremy has the 3 links. I suggest you guys watch through them and make your own.
No worries.
assessments.
I definitely agree that the WMDs were not the real reason we went into Iraq. There was another conspiracy theory that Iraq was going to dump the dollar in October 2000, shortly before 9/11, the year before 9/11. And if they dumped the dollar for the oil currency, it was going to, tip the petrodollar.
I remember reading that. Wasn't he trying to make his own gold
Yeah,
currency as well, Jeremy?
Saddam actually had one of his sons named Qusay. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. If you want to continue with that, I know there's a book called Petrodollar Warfare. I read this book way back like 20 years ago or whatever, around that time. And then, of course, you have whenever the Foreign Policy Journal goes and puts out a debunking, that there has to be some truth behind that. Because
so 2 days after the war started was when the looting happened in Baghdad. A day before that, Saddam had his son Qusay go to the Central Bank of Iraq, and they looted all of the American dollars, all of the gold, and most of the Iraqi dinars from the bank. And where that ended up has not been determined to this day.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I remember I heard in rumors that there was a Stargate too that they found, and other things too. So I don't know.
Yeah, I heard that had something to do with the ziggurat, actually.
This was one of the things that was spread around, and I think that this is this is the Newsweek did to access an ancient Stargate. That'd be cool. Maybe
I'd
they
like
got
to
it.
see evidence. Yeah.
I'd like to see evidence. Maybe they have it. Maybe it's sitting in a bunker underneath Iron Mountain.
Maybe it's still under one of those ziggurats and just under U.S. control now.
Just like the movie Stargate, and they're traveling to Egypt, another land. Anyways, yeah, it sounds kind of wacky. I think it had a lot more to do with Saddam Hussein, the era that whole petrodollar thing, and also the Afghan the Taliban was burning the opium poppies, and the Taliban had taken control in Afghanistan, and opium production over there was tanking, which of course all the national banks rely on the international drug trade for fresh flow of liquid cash assets that it provides. So when this dried up for them, a lot of the banks started going nuts, because if they don't get that cash flow from the drug trade, then they'll go into default, and they'll literally won't have the money to pay back the people that they steal it from through fractional reserve lending, and so that the banks would have all failed and crashed. So it's kind of crazy how the banking infrastructure, banks like banks that get caught, laundered billions for Mexicans' drug cartels, and when they get caught, they pay a couple $100 million fine as a penalty. So it's totally worth it, It's totally worth it if you're making a couple $100 billion, you get slapped on the wrist with a $150 million fine. I mean, that's
That's the cost of doing business. Yep, exactly.
Cost of doing business. So it's really crazy what the infrastructure has become, and all the big banks. I mean, this is Wachovia is some people. I guarantee there's people in the audience that use Wachovia, and there's lots of other ones. You'd be surprised if you look at all the biggest money laundering scandals where these banks, the big banks, work directly with the drug cartels. So it's pretty nuts how it all works at the top, behind the scenes. But yeah, thank you, Josh, for joining us. And I understand if you got to go.
Q says his mic should be working, so if you want
yeah,
to bring
let's
him
see.
up, I'll
Awesome.
just say hi to him.
Testing. Can you hear us? Can we hear you?
Yeah, hello.
Hello, Q. Thank
There
you
you are.
for helping out tonight. I really appreciate you giving your time and knowledge to help bring this data forward. And I appreciate that you're able to help present the Gilgamesh case for us tonight.
You can all hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello,
Well,
Q.
hello, everybody. This is my first time. I'm not good at public speaking, so hello. Josh explained it very well. Be
Bye,
honest.
everyone. Thank you so much for listening to us and giving us your time to present this.
Thanks
Thank
for your time, Josh.
Thank you. Hey, thanks again.
See you, Josh.
Thank you, UFO Snowden.
Oh, well, no. Did anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have lots and lots of questions, man. So obviously I've seen the Veritasium thing where he covers himself in aerogel and the water doesn't even touch him. You know, it's like that barrier. He goes in the tank and everything. It was kind of crazy. That type of yeah, let's bring that one up. Veritasium aerogel pool. Yeah, this one is crazy. So he does the whole thing. He puts it all over his hand, and he put the torch right on his hand. It doesn't burn him at all. This one is really cool to watch. If people should go check that out. But he covers his skin in aerogel, and look at what happens. Like when he goes in the water, it just rolls off his body.
It's a hydrophobic metamaterial liquid. Extraordinary.
And that, but where I would like to see this used for mummification and show that like this can preserve a body. This is
you can, yes.
There's got to be used, and they had to have another method of something to preserve the soft tissues in the skin and everything else like underneath it, because it just that
the discussion there, the metamaterial science. People are limiting the application in discussion for UFO. It is just described, I think, in nature matter, not the gas chain state. It could be used in multiple ways. Look at this, it's ridiculous. It's extraordinary, and it works perfectly. And it's because of the nature of the aerogel materials. You can put raw meat in; it won't go on. Really, I mean, it'll decay, it'll dry up a bit, but you're only, you'll just have moisture evaporate, whatever. Not gonna, you can preserve something for a long time.
yeah, it's unlistenable. I can barely make it out, man. People, the audience are not going to be able to, you're getting.
Hold on, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
This okay?
Yeah, that sounds a lot better.
I'm very sorry.
Okay.
Okay, right. Okay, so this is the material science. This, you can see the variety of the application in the video with
Oh, there it goes again. I could hear those sentences and just
hold on.
Skipped
Must be
out.
over the target.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'll say, huh?
Test
Yeah,
1, 2.
Yeah, just carry on without. It's fine. Carry on. I will come back in a second.
All right.
How do you make a drop of neutrons, man? What?
So is aerogel easy to make? Like, it looks like they have tons of it.
Yeah, I was wondering what it was made of.
So it's made out of they take like a silica and they make like this gel at first, and then they rapid dehydrate it with like a freeze drying kind of technique, and it sucks all the moisture out of it, so that it just replaces that like with air. It's all the moisture in the gel, in the silica gel, into this air.
Supercritical drying.
So it's basically silicon.
Silicon, yeah. Well, there's different types. There's bismuth magnesium aerogels. There's graphene aerogel.
It's the nature of the material is you can sort of feed into it in anything. It'll carry most things and then carry their properties through an extended solution.
Right. I was talking about the one we were looking at.
The one he
one
was swimming in.
the one in the water.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to see the one where they heat it up and it flies.
Oh yeah.
Magnifying glass. I want to see if they had that. I got to post those videos
Yeah,
on the
that's
YouTube channel, so I have them on there. It's just easier to find. But oh yeah,
it would be nice to have some shorts of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna post. I got to get those posted up on my YouTube if I can.
Can people hear me okay now?
Yes.
Work on doing that.
Okay.
No, I can hear you, but try. Yeah, we'll give it one more shot. But if
right.
Go ahead.
Okay. If anybody has any questions for me, please put them in.
Does anyone have any questions for Q about the Gilgamesh thing, or you're more of an expert in this? You're not like an expert on the aerogels or the programs where these come from or anything, right? You can't tell us.
No, I can't help you about that, other than what I told you in the sent you an email.
So
I'm not a material scientist.
So as far as Gilgamesh goes, do you know where he was moved to or where he is now? Or is that... I'm just sort of curious.
Nimrod, right?
Right. So the videos that Josh gave you, one of them is a long form National Geographic documentary about the looting of Nimrod treasure. If you bring that up, you'll see what happened.
Is this the real thing? This really?
No. This is not it. You're looking at entirely the wrong thing. I don't know what this is.
There's something that
not,
says
no,
that.
No. This is not. Go back to Josh sent you videos, I believe, of a National Geographic documentary called "The Treasures of Nimrod."
And I can't even hear him, man. Hey guys, I'm gonna wrap the stream up here, and let's continue this tomorrow again, and see if you can't get a better. See if you can't just go to Best Buy and get a Logitech, camera mic. You know what I mean? And see if that won't fix you. Yeah, this catastrophic mic is. We need a good mic for catastrophic disclosure. So, yesterday was a good marathon. We went on a long thing, and I don't want to get burnt out either. So I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys, for the live stream. And guys, anyone who has information, come on. If you want to just jump on the after party show, there's the link right there. Come on and jump on and stay tuned for tomorrow, because we got more stuff coming up tomorrow, and I'm going to get these papers printed out tonight so that we can get Michael more up to speed and up to bar on this, and if he can give us more insights on the material science of this. So thank you again for another entertaining stream.
Awesome live stream, Jeremy. Awesome.
Yeah, we'll continue this tomorrow, but tons of more great information. So thank you all, and have an awesome night. I'll see you in the after show later.
Good night.